Hello there, everyone. All right, I am doing something so new today. Let me get over to my comments. All right. Hi there. This is a new one for me, but welcome to this live stream that I have today. Now, this is being streamed in a couple of different locations. The original purpose for this kind of mini masterclass today was for the PetViz CRM group to kind of talk about the customer journey from start to end and how we can take each step of that journey and create some automation, create more efficiency and a little bit more system into that through the CRM. But then I realized, well, what I'm talking about today applies to all business owners. So I do also have this live streamed into the PetViz Hive group and additionally to the YouTube channel. So we're doing something a little different today. Normally I have presentation style. Would love to know if, because this is different for me, I don't have a microphone right next to me. Can you hear me okay? I'll kind of watch on the comments. I just need a thumbs up to know that you are hearing me okay. And in the meantime, would love to know who is watching. If you want to go ahead and drop your name in, let me know who you are. I am using StreamYard. So if you have not been on a StreamYard Live before, now you can see, of course, this great on Facebook. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, I will not be able to see your comments. So I would recommend, if you're watching live, to hop on over to Facebook if you have any particular questions. But to be able to have your name and your profile picture show up, you need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. So, okay, looks like we have a lot of people here. Good. Thank you, Steve, for the thumbs up there. Got Laura in today. Heather. All right, good. Wonderful. Andrea, hey there. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, and every single one of you have done the approval, so I can see all your beautiful faces and your names in case you have a question. So I'll be kind of doing a little juggling here today. I'm not used to being up and moving around, but as you can see, I have my whiteboard behind me. This is where the magic happens in my office, right? It's my place to brainstorm, mind map, draw lists. It's the place for my son on the lower half to draw pictures. I should have left one up for you. He had a fantastically weird thing up there earlier. So he likes to draw, I guess, what looks like aliens right now, but what particularly can it be with a 3-year-old? So yes, this is my wall of thought behind me. And so what I wanted to do today is really go over the customer journey with everyone. So just a little bit of a mini masterclass for you. So if you have seen any of my presentations before about the customer journey and the customer funnel, what you probably have seen out in the marketing space with the normal marketing experts out there is a customer funnel where it's shaped like a true funnel, right? Everybody sees that. It's a triangle. You stuff a bunch of people into the top, and then you take them through the phases of your funnel, and then you hope that your perfect client comes out of the bottom. Well, the issue with that is there's a lot of leaky little holes in that bucket, and that's why you start with so many and you end up with so few. Now, of course, there is going to be that process where people realize that maybe they're not a good fit for you, and you'll realize that you're not a good fit for them. So, yeah, of course, there are going to be some people that don't make it all the way through your funnel. But what I have learned is there's so much more to the customer journey than just that simple funnel. I really prefer thinking about that funnel as the first section, but yet we flip it on its head, and we have so much responsibility as entrepreneurs and business owners to continue that funnel farther than just making it transactional. And okay, great, we did your service, everything was good, we'll talk to you next time, right? Because that is really what we have seen so much in our industry, specifically speaking to, of course, the in-home service providers, boarding and daycare. And it's like, okay, great, we took care of you. Let us know when you need us again. And there's just nothing after that. So I'm going to go ahead and put up what I consider to be the ideal customer funnel. And this is honestly for any industry, but absolutely for the pet industry, because we are dealing with such a personal thing. Dealing with, in our case, with in-home services, we are dealing with their home and their four-legged kids, right? So we really need to be more mindful about making our funnel relational and not just transactional. So this is also where things like automation and a CRM can work beautifully, marrying the tech part to make things more efficient, along with the intention of taking someone carefully through your customer funnel. This is not something that I've always done. Of course, if you do not know me, I have a successful large pet business in St. Louis, and I've been doing that for 27 years. And then I have been coaching and educating in the space since 2021. So for the last 3 years, I have been doing this. So bringing all of the information, I am a huge curator of education and information. I've spent a lot of time and money educating myself over the past decade. So bringing that to you. But with this customer funnel, a lot of it might look familiar. The top part, of course, hopefully everyone can see my screen okay. So you've got the normal top section, and different people call the phases different things, but this is really what I tend to resonate with. So the top part of the customer funnel, if you just look up there, first 4 stages, we've got awareness, interest, desire, and action. So that's your typical funnel. You shove a bunch of people in the top, you get them to the action point, and they drop out the bottom, right? So if we flip that funnel, we still have additional responsibility to make sure that our clients are well cared for. And that would be, of course, an excellent job welcoming them to your service and expectations for the future, making sure you support them through the process, being able to nurture them. I recommend nurturing them at least weekly through email marketing program, or if you have a blog that goes out, just some way that you can make a connection with them, even if it is just short and sweet, letting them know new person that you've hired. There's so many different options out there of what you can do with weekly email marketing. I'm not talking about having a full, fancy, built-out newsletter with all of these articles and educational information and everything that the rescue is doing in your area. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about short and sweet, something that your customer or prospect base can digest very quickly, but yet feel connected to you. So very much of a personal sharing and letting them see who you are as a business owner, who your team is, letting them know about your culture, your mission, vision, and values so that they resonate and feel very connected to your business. So that is why I have this funnel developed for everyone. For myself, but sharing it with everyone else. And if you really look at all of these different points, I'm going to go ahead and write them up here because I'm going to be switching to a different screen. Hopefully everyone can see this. I apologize for my handwriting ahead of time, right? Okay, interest, desire, action, and then we have the other part where we welcome them. Everybody hopefully can still hear me okay over there. Support them, nurture them, and then if we do all of these steps right, we are going to have raving fans. Okay, and I guess I was off camera at that point, but I'm not left-handed. So if we look at this funnel, of course you see in my diagram there, you've got your raving fans on the bottom. Well, those raving fans, the idea is you have such a great connection with them that they are chomping at the bit, not just if somebody asks them, gee, do you know someone who does grooming, dog walking, dog training? But they are actively helping you try to find people. Those are going to be your raving fans. And those, full circle, is going to help feed the top of your funnel. So let me take that off there. So now you can see my entire board. So think about all of those different 8 phases in the customer funnel. What are you doing right now in your pet business to engage your prospects or your clients in each of those funnel steps? Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Of course, communication wise, if you really think about it, the awareness, that first step in the funnel, that is when they're just now honestly realizing that I have an issue that I need to solve. So they are just starting that search. So if you have someone who has, let's say, moved into your city, and many times we know as in-home service providers, they're going to be looking for someone to do their dog walking frequently before they're finding a veterinarian or finding a groomer, any of those other service providers. So where are you located? How visible are you? How well are you branded? This involves, of course, having a very clean and well-messaged website. It's making sure that you have a great Google business profile so you show up in those searches. It's making sure that your website is SEO optimized. I know there was just recently conversation about having additional city pages if you're in more than one city or a larger territory, to make sure those are optimized for your SEO. There's a lot that goes into having a great website. So that is where you get started. If you have an older style website, maybe something that you haven't looked at in a while, highly recommend getting in there and looking at your messaging. More than anything, you want to understand who your target client is, and you want to make sure that when your target client looks at your website in that first 5 seconds, that they automatically know that you are the person that they're looking for and you can solve their problems. So a lot goes into the messaging of your website. You know, I highly recommend, if you are a reader, and I certainly hope you are a reader, leaders are readers, that you check out Donald Miller's book, Story Brand Marketing. Building a story brand. That's what it is. That is really great if you've done your own website before, or you are getting ready to have someone do your website. And of course, you need to provide the copy and helping you figure out how you want to write that messaging so it takes the customer through the journey and the different steps to understand that you are the right person for them. So definitely a book recommendation there for you. So that awareness, just making sure that when someone goes looking, that you are there. And then, of course, that interest phase, that's when they're really checking out your website. This is where some of those automation pieces can come in. You know, that's when they're like, okay, well, what does this person do? What services do they have? How do I sign up? What are the requirements? Do they have vaccination requirements, things like that? Do I have to have a veterinarian before I start a relationship? You know, that's all that interest thing. That's when they're kind of, you know, walking around the car, kicking the tires, just seeing if it's a good fit. So you want to make sure that you make it easy for them to get their answers and to get connected to you. Now, that interest phase, many times that is when, I know in our industry, because I've been through all of these phases of having an in-home pet service, you will have a client who will pick up the phone and call, if that's what you have on there for them to contact you with. If you are busy out in the field, walking dogs, whatever you're doing, you might miss that phone call because it is not convenient. Well, then that goes to a voicemail. And then that starts the game of phone tag potentially with that client. In the meantime, if they leave a message for you, and if they are just looking down in Google after doing a Google search, they are more than likely going to call the next person on the list, because let's just admit it, everybody is into kind of instant gratification. making sure that we keep our lives simple. We don't want too much going on at once. So let's just find someone to take care of this issue, right? So you want to make sure that you make it simple for them to get a hold of you. Now, through, of course, with the PetViz CRM community, we do have the ability to have a web chat widget. You might already have one, but this is one connected into the CRM. So for those of you in the CRM right now, that is the purpose of the web chat widget, making sure it's quick communication with them. That is the purpose of having, instead of just a contact us form on your website where they say, here's my name, here's my email, and here's my message that comes to you by email, that if you're at all like me, you get an insane number of emails every day, and sometimes it might take a day or two to get back to them. Same situation there. If you have it built into the CRM, it's a quicker communication. So just think about all of those ways that you can make it easier for them, including having amazing FAQs on your website. That is always very important. Taking the time to write down all those questions that you usually get from prospective clients, and then just answering them for them ahead of time. So it's all right there. So that's the interest phase. Desire phase. I mean, this is when they've really kind of connected that you are the person that they want. You know, if you kind of think back to that desire phase, it will take several touches to really have someone understand that you are the person. So that might be them searching and finding your website, reading more about your website. It might be their direct interactions with you, however you have that set up. But another beautiful thing about creating that desire in the client is making sure that you have enough touches with them, that they feel like they are more than just a number, that you truly do care about their experience and their pets. So again, with automations, this is a way that you can build in that welcome series. I've talked about this before. A welcome series is just going to be a group of emails that are pre-scheduled and automated to go out when that person first shares their email address with you. Whether this is they call you and you get the email address that way, or maybe they fill out a form on your website and you get the email address that way. Maybe you have a sign up for an email newsletter. Some people do sign up for those. Or maybe you have created a really juicy lead magnet that you have, whether it's a pop-up or a stationary thing that they can click to get access to. Maybe you are a dog trainer, and when you go to the website, they get a little pop-up about, here are 7 ways to alleviate your dog's separation anxiety. Well, if I am looking for a dog trainer to help me out with a dog that has anxiety, then absolutely I'm going to click on that, because that's going to give me some great information, and I can learn more about you and what you do through a lead magnet like that, without the pressure of maybe somebody doesn't want to have a conversation yet. They're just not sure. So having those kinds of touches like that can be all part of a welcome series. Even if they're not ready to use your service right now, you are giving them the opportunity to get to know you and making sure that you are the right person. So things like lead magnets and welcome series, which can all be automated, those are things that very much build up that desire in that prospect, right? So then, of course, when we get to that kind of action phase, most of us I talk mostly about the in-home space because that's where the largest body of my experience has been. Most of us in that situation have some sort of industry software that we are using. So a lot of that is going to be a little bit more of a manual process. We don't have really good marriage between our tech with in-home industry software and CRM programs. So, you're going to have a little bit more direct interaction to get them all set up. But that welcome phase, that is additionally really important. So think about how you can use automations to set expectations. You kind of think from the client perspective, we're wooing them through this, right? You're not going straight from, hi, my name is, and will you marry me? You've got kind of a little bit of a dating process here, and you want to make sure that you're taking them from step to step and that they're understanding how your services are going to benefit them and how things are going to work using your services. So if you don't have anything really developed yet for clients, it's a good opportunity to have that explanation of what that relationship looks like. You can, of course, make it an automated email that goes out to them. We have it set up actually as a manual step in ours right now. We will be switching over to automated as soon as we can. But just think about how you can really welcome them so they feel like they are a part of your family, a part of your services, and that they do matter. All right, I'm just making sure there's no other questions over here. Okay, perfect. All right, then on the support end of it, really with that support part, that's doing the work, right? Making sure that you are supporting them through that process of going out of town. So whether or not you can automate confirmation emails. I know anytime I'm getting ready to go out of town, every time I do it, I really think I need to create a checklist for this. So I'm not so scrambly thinking I'm forgetting something, but maybe they're like me, maybe they have fabulous checklists. Either way, it's always great to know a couple of days before you go out of town that your pets are taken care of. So making sure that you have some sort of an automatic or manual confirmation of services that goes out ahead of time. And making sure that there is an easily established way for them to contact you when they are out of town if there are issues. So supporting them through that entire process so they know that you've got their back, right? That they can travel with that peace of mind that you have promised them. So this is really delivering on the promise of your service itself. And then it doesn't just end there, right? We have to make sure that we continue with that relationship. It's like, we'll just keep using the dating reference, right? It's like you go on this great date and then you don't hear from them when you feel like you've been totally dropped. Not that I'm talking from experience. So you want to keep nurturing them along in this relationship. And that can be so easily done by blogs, email marketing, sending that information out. I would highly recommend that if you have been putting all of your nurturing into something like social media, that you reconsider that and you spend more time nurturing the client list that you have, and additionally the prospects. These are people who maybe they contacted you and they never used your service. Maybe they used the neighbor kit. Maybe they used an app service. Maybe they had a family member that decided, maybe they chose another business. That does not mean that you need to take them off your list. Your list, your email list, is the most valuable thing that you will have. You want to keep that email list and continue to nurture all of them. Because even if that person did not use your services, use someone else, maybe they will never use you again, but they know who you are. It's brand awareness, and you never know who they know. They might talk to someone who is looking for a service, and what they have in their mind is this company that has been emailing them great information and that they feel like they know them and trust them. And so here, call these people because I get emails from them. So you never know who that person might know that's a perfect connection for you. And then, of course, when we maintain those great relationships, that ideal is having raving fans. So along with that nurture and that raving fan relationship, you want to make sure that you have a great referral program, that you make sure that your clients or your prospects know that if they do refer someone to you, that you're going to take the absolute best care of them ever. Because a referral to us as business owners is huge, right? That's that person having complete trust in you in order to share your name with someone else. Because anytime you give a referral, it's like you're putting your rubber stamp on it saying, these people are good. And the last thing that your clients or prospects want is to have the person they referred come back and say, man, like you referred me to that dog walking company. They never called me back. So you want to make sure that you handle those with the utmost care. And that can be done wonderfully with a referral marketing program on the back end, or additionally having one that's automated. So wanted you guys to really think through all of those different steps from the get-go and how you can improve the way that you touch your prospects and your clients through each one of these steps. And get creative. Sometimes the wow factor that you can create in someone, it might be video. I had actually instigated that in my company, that if someone contacts us and fills out a form and is willing to reach out to us in that way, we send them a thank you video. How many people get thank you videos, right? I had actually seen someone that had done kind of a video reach out probably 3 or 4 years ago, was whenever we decided to start that. And it's huge. You get a video from somebody and you're like, wow, all of a sudden you went from this like 2-dimensional website to now you're talking to me, you're using my name, you use my pet's name. You really are able to flesh out your company in their mind. And that is an automatic trust builder there too. So, and if you don't feel comfortable on camera, you're just talking to a friend. I mean, I don't even know how many of you I'm talking to right now, but this video is going to be out for a really long time. And I just feel like I'm, sitting across the table from you with a cup of coffee, honestly. So wonderful. Let's see. It looks like there's a comment from Julie. Let's see. Documents to download as part of their automations. Let's see. Do all of these need to live on the CRM if they trigger? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah. You would just go ahead and upload them in the CRM. So, yeah, anything that's going to be a part of the automation, it's going to be the easiest for you to upload it. Very easy to attach all of those documents. Yes. Is the video just a hello and telling them the next steps? Honestly, yeah, that's really what I've been doing. Typically it's like, hey, we got your form. I'm so glad that you decided to reach out to us to have us take care of Fluffy next week when you're on vacation. Just want to let you know, you should have an email in your inbox, and that is from us telling us what you need to do next to get your profile updated. Make sure you get a card on file. Once we see all that, we are going to send you a link with our calendar so you can self-schedule one of our client consults. That kind of thing. So I just kicked into auto mode, didn't I? So that is really kind of what we do on that video. Just very short and sweet, but personalizing each one. I'm not saying create one and group blast it out, but really like using their name, using their pet's name. That's really important to them. Okay, so now we're going to kind of talk about how we can incorporate each of these steps of our customer journey as we're mapping it out in our minds. Now, this is very much for the automations and the CRM part. But I want everyone, even if you don't have any kind of a CRM or email management program, to really think through each of these steps and how people are coming into your funnel and how you are managing them at each point. It's so easy to be able to take a CRM and a customer pipeline and make all these automation steps, but you really need to understand what the whole package looks like and how you want them to go through this journey, because it is a journey. They can go this way, they can go that way. I really like using flow charts on these types of things because it really helps you see overall how you are wanting to take this person through and what happens to them if they don't go in the exact direction you want. So we'll kind of start over here. Well, here, let me show you first. I have this other screen up here. So for y'all that are CRM people, let me pop this one up a little bigger. Okay. So this is, of course, the customer journey stages that are already set up in your CRM right now. Now, they are really basic. I know some of you have already started working on some of these. I just put in a general overview for you to look at. So we've got, the usual, the inquiry or the form, which is typically going to be a form you have on your website. And then many of you are going to either do a phone call right away, or you're going to have them potentially self-schedule a phone call. That is what we do because, of course, it removes us from that. When they fill out a form, they have the option to schedule a phone call at that point, and they get our calendar and they can go ahead and self-schedule a time slot. huge time saver because it's none of the back and forth of, hey, okay, I just called you. I left you a message. Call me back. That's so unpredictable with our busy schedules and with their busy schedules. So at least with them being able to self-schedule a phone consult, they can tell you, I will be at this phone number at this time, or at least they should be. It's the best we're going to get, right? So that's why I added that concept in there of having a phone call be scheduled. So then for most of us, again, we do have industry software that we're using. So I have a step of it being entered into the software. And then at that point where they are ready to go ahead and schedule services, they're typically going to have that actual consult request. Again, that can be within the CRM where they are sent a calendar link to self-schedule their own consult. And then I just have the request that it's actually scheduled, services are scheduled, and then just a last one over here that perhaps they've signed up for our services, but the services are on hold. Maybe the services are 6 months from now. I still kind of consider that to be on hold because you need to keep nurturing them in the meantime, right? Making sure you're building that relationship. So all of these phases are very easy to edit to your own customer journey. And hopefully you can kind of clarify what that's going to look like after this today. You would just go to the top of the page there under pipelines, finding the customer journey and hitting the little edit button. And here's all those stages. So you can easily go in, type over, make any changes you want to the phases, add a stage, delete a stage. You can move the stages around if you need to. So all of those options are there to go ahead and edit your own customer funnel. All right. We'll go back big screen here. Looks like I've got a little bit of hesitation on my camera right now. All right, let me know. Can you guys still see me okay? Maybe I'm over it there. I'll close out over on this screen. Oops. Trying to use a mouse for my screen way over there at the same time is interesting. All right. Are we good? Can everybody still see me? Can I get a woot? Get a hey, get a something. How are we doing? There we go. Lagging, but we can see you. Okay. Hopefully it catches up here. I closed out of everything else. I got a whoop from Heather. Awesome. Okay. So let's think through that entire process as we go. So, as I mentioned, that first step is usually going to be that inquiry step. So, where are these people coming from? You might have them coming through several different locations. Of course, we have the phone, which is my least favorite. I'm trying to think if we even have our phone number on our website right now. I don't know if it's the more tech that's available or the older that I get, the less I want to talk on the phone. I don't know what that says about society, but at least that's me, right? So they might come in by phone. They might come in by email. Like if you have just your email address listed on your website, email on marketing materials that you have out in public. However, that it just comes with a direct email. They might come in from a form. This might be a form that's built into our CRM, or maybe you still have just a regular contact us form that comes to you additionally by email. And then another one that I thought of is something like events. So if you do events for your business, I did an entire podcast about preparing for events. Of course, I think I did it this time last year because we're getting ready to head back into event season with, spring coming and summer. So I definitely go back and look at the Pet Biz podcast to listen up on that podcast. Sorry, I should have written that down. Afterthought. So the one, I think maybe I actually did two about events, how to prep for events, and an additional one that I did about how to follow up. And the follow-up part is what I'm talking about. For many years, I would do events and I really would not get a good return off of them because I didn't know how important it was to capture those leads, however you get them at an event, and actually follow up with them, right? So, at an event, if you have, I would always do, I don't have it around here, but I had a really large jar that I would put dog treats in, and it was guess how many treats are in the jar. And when I felt like I was really hot snot, I had my iPad and I had a Google form on there that they would, put their name, their first name, their email, and the number of how many treats were in there. And it was Google Drive, so it would drop into a Google Sheet, and that's how I could find the number. I felt like I was all techie there, but at least that was capturing emails, right? And so, whereas a lot of people at events are just going to be looking for free shit, you need to figure out a way to at least capitalize, because again, email is gold. Your social media is like a cloud. How many people have you heard of lately that have lost access to their Facebook accounts because the rug was just pulled out underneath them? You don't own your Facebook account. You don't own your Instagram account. You don't own your TikTok account. None of those. The only thing that you truly own, the real estate that you have, is those email addresses. So they are so important for you to collect and use in your nurturing system. So with those leads, I'd get the emails, and maybe these people would never use me. Back to the fact of nurturing your prospects, you never know who they know. So capturing those email addresses, however you have contest signups, whatever you do, making sure that you have those and that is actually part of your system too. So you can get people that come in from all of those directions, but many times your events are just coming in as leads, right? And just for a little terminology difference, you've got lead versus prospect. And, everybody kind of defines these a little bit different, but I think the clearest definition is a lead would be someone like you met them at an event. They didn't come to you and say, hey, I need dog walking necessarily. They just came by and said, hey, what are you doing? Okay, I'll guess the number of treats in the jar. The only thing you really know is they probably have a pet, right? So those are going to be your leads in the system. But when they truly are asking about your service, wanting more information, when they truly realize that they have a need, that's when they step over into that prospect lane. So that's kind of the difference between a lead and a prospect. A prospect is going to be a little bit more warm because they are actually looking for the service that you currently have and have a need for that. So when you think about those leads that come in, you still want them to be nurtured, don't you? Everyone should be nurtured. Honestly, you can have one single email nurture program where communicating weekly, at the minimum weekly, and that nurture sequence, the email, maybe you do put out the weekly blog and you share the blog with some insights that come from your years, your experience, your professionalism. So at the base, they need to be nurtured on that weekly basis. And of course, that can be done within the CRM, can be done through an email service provider. If you're kind of starting out and you want to know where to go and you're not ready for a CRM yet, a lot of people use MailChimp. MailerLite is another great one. Last time I had checked, MailerLite allows you to email to up to, I believe, 1,000 contacts for free. So something to check into. That might last you a while. So you want to really have you want to automatically have them in the nurture series. And you could also go ahead and put them in a welcome series. So a welcome series. Okay, nurtured, one per week, right? Welcome series is usually going to be, I've seen as few as 3, sometimes up to 9 emails in a welcome series. I keep mine at about 5. And based off of the StoryBrand philosophy, StoryBrand structure system, I have 5 that have really very targeted purposes. I went through a certified story brand marketer to kind of help me figure out how to best structure those. And, of course, you're going to have your introduction. You want to provide testimonials for them. You want to really let them know what you're all about: mission, vision, values, your company culture. If you have a facet of social responsibility, if you work with local pet advocacy groups, or if you work directly with local rescues, what you do there. People like to know that you value what they value. And typically you will have some sort of an email that's overcoming objections. So what's one of the biggest objections people have over your service? I took it head on and I tackled price, because that's the biggest one. I'm intentionally the highest priced in my market. And so, I explain in that email that, of course, we do charge more because we do more, we're worth more, we have more expertise, more blah, blah, blah. And I kind of outline what that specifically is. So, the welcome series can be really important. And typically those are going out on an every other day basis. Or maybe you get creative and you send one out on day 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10. There you go. That's your 5 emails right there. You can pre-schedule those out in an email service provider like MailChimp, MailerLite, or additionally in the CRM too. So all of those things can be automated and triggered directly from the point with automations. Let's say you have your event. Somebody says, I think there's 265 treats in the cookie jar. They hit submit. It can automatically trigger the welcome series of emails. So they'll get home and they'll have an email from you. In that case, you would be saying, so glad you came, blah, 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 introducing your company and going from there. And then they could also be immediately added to your nurture series, where they'll start to get those weekly drips, right? Just a little bit of, I'm still here, maybe we can help, right? Okay. So we've got all these people that are coming in as an inquiry. And these, of course, as I mentioned, really are your prospects. So kind of define the difference between your lead and your prospect being different. Making sure my phone's kind of blowing up, making sure that everybody can still hear me. All right. Perfect. So now you have people that come in, and these prospects that are coming in, you want to make sure that they are added to this also, right? Don't forget, they need a welcome series also. Even if they are coming in as a referral and they're signing up directly for your company, this is the base information. You want them to truly know who you are and start that relationship out right. So having that welcome series, adding them to that nurturing email, the regular emails that are going to be going out. So typically when our prospects come in, well, I'll say in our case, we have that phone call. So don't forget, we have that phone call step in there that we do. So consider how you're planning on working that communication, that approval process. That's another thing to talk about. Unfortunately, I don't know. Even when people submit forms or request services, however you have that set up, maybe you use Time to Pet and you have them fill out the prospect form. Whatever it is, most of the time, I think I see it falling into, 3 different categories where you are making sure that they are a fit to the right area, like they're literally in your service area, that they actually need a service that you provide. Those of you that don't do boarding, how often do you get asked if you do boarding, right? So the right fit, so that they're in the right area, that they need the right service, that you have availability during that time. And then depending on your questions, if they're appropriate. Let's say you have a team and you work with a team on your services, team-based service, and they have a human selective dog. That's probably not going to be an appropriate client for you and would be better served to be referred someone else. So, you kind of think of those different things. Not everybody is going to be your ideal client, but we do typically have to touch ours somewhere. Now, if you're within the CRM, you can set up your form, say they're wanting boarding. If that is something that they reply in a question, you can automatically disqualify them and send them an email or a text automated while you're sleeping, letting them know that we don't provide that service, but here's who we recommend checking with. Same thing with zip codes. You can set it up that if they don't live in one of the zip codes that you service, it can automatically disqualify them and send them email, text, whatever you would like to let them know where you're recommending they go from here. But there is always going to be some sort of a step where we need to manually make this decision if we're moving forward with them. And that's understandable. I think just really because the nature of what we do and how we do it, we can't automate everything. So we just try to make it as efficient as possible with what we can automate. So let's see. So let's say we have that initial contact with them. So maybe we have a phone call, they decide to go somewhere else. So, we're going to have the people that say nope, and we're going to have the people that right. Of course, we might also have some people that say yes, but I'm waiting, like maybe those that that are booking for spring break next year because their pet sitter was booked this year. For whatever reason, there are some people that book a year in advance. We all know that, whether or not you accept them that far in advance or not. But, let's say these people are like, hold for the future. They contact you and they're getting their first puppy, but it's 2 weeks old and they can't get it from the breeder until 12 weeks, that kind of thing. So we're on hold for some reason. Hold people. Yes, we absolutely want to make sure that they are included in our welcome series and our nurture series, but you should have already caught them up there with it, right? So with our no people, keep nurturing them. Don't get rid of those email addresses. Again, your gold might be in those people that say no. You never know if, trying to think of any situation that I've had. There have actually been times when I will do a specific email during the week that, and I learned this, those of you that are in BNI or have done BNI in the past, you know this, that you ask for something specific. And I don't know if you've ever tried that before, but again, you never know who people know. Where I've specifically said that I would love a warm introduction to someone who manages an assisted living facility. And I've gotten that from people before who have not been my clients, who have just been names on my email list. So people want to help people. People want to help people succeed that they know, like, and trust. So that is why we need to value these lists and make sure that we maintain that connection with them. Okay. So they said yes. Yay. So we are going to set these people up, right? And that absolutely is going to look different for all of us. So, whatever you do with that, again, in our situation, we have kind of a bit of a manual process when we use Time to Pet. So, we're going in and we're sending them the activation link. I can't spell. And then activation. Yes, I can spell. My mother was an English teacher. So, we're sending them that activation link for them to get set up. I mentioned earlier, we have kind of our welcome email that goes out that sets our expectations. We have not moved that over to automated yet, but we have the ability to do that now. But it just lets them know what things are going to look like down the road and the expectations that they have. And then we always tell them to fill out their profile, put a card on file, and then we invite them to self-schedule their consult. So schedule consult. Again, automated, right? So we have multiple managers that do our consults. And so this goes directly into their own calendars. And when someone schedules a consult, you create an automation to confirm the consult, because this is one of the things that I hear a lot from people as I showed up for my meet and greet. and they weren't there and they had forgotten, whatever the situation is. So, anytime somebody is setting up a time to meet with you, whether it's setting up a phone consult or an in-person consult, you set up automations that are going to remind them by email and additionally send them text reminders. You're probably starting to see this more and more through all industries, that you are getting more of these text reminders because people don't want to waste their time showing up to people's houses. We're not professional visitors. So we want to make sure that, when we do set up these things in our schedule, that they are going to be productive, right? Okay. Sorry, look in March. Good. I'm glad you think this is helpful. Okay, except I'm starting to get down here into my son's area, right? Okay, so we think about that calendar invite, and then I mentioned, of course, sending out a confirmation. This is kind of a sticking point right now. I'm going to work hard in the industry to have more information that's provided to us to be able to automate this. So you get that consult scheduled, you get that service scheduled, and then I think we all probably have some form of confirmation. Now, typically you can do that through your industry software. I usually like to send out a confirmation 3 days in advance. We actually have it created as a service assigned to the primary sitter, so it doesn't get skipped. So we know it's checked off 3 days ahead of time. So get that consult done. You do your confirmation, then you provide the service. And then after the service, I'm not going to get down on my knees here and right on the bottom. You've got, of course, that review request. This is a super big part of the PetBiz CRM, is building up those reviews, because if you haven't had really any education on the Google business profiles, it is so important to increase your number of reviews. I would say search in your local market, find the person in your industry that has the highest number of reviews, and have that be a goal. I mean, literally set that as a metric in your company that you're going for. Figure out okay, well, maybe I have a little bit of a competitive streak. I want to beat this person that has the highest number by the end of this calendar year. So this is exactly what I did 2 years ago. So in 2022, I decided, all right, this is the year that I'm going to mark mine and get mine really productive. So I found the highest person in the area, and I said, all right, we're gonna blow past it by the end of the calendar year. And so I actually had given my manager, I had a bonus tied to it if she hit the goal by the end of the year. And so she was all in on that game. Let's see, because I said it had to be done by December 31st of 2022. She sent out an email the week before Christmas. Or no, it was the week after Christmas. It was several days left till the end of the year. And she was still, I don't know, I think probably 10 away from the goal or something like that. And so I told her it was totally okay to do. She asked first to send out an email to our entire client list and let them know that, hey, just kind of want to let you know, since she was the one that talked to them all the time anyway, and they had a relationship with her, that, I kind of have this little game going on with myself where I have this goal by the end of the year, and would love it if you haven't given us a review yet to go ahead and go in there so I can reach my goal. They knew her. They knew the ask was honest and was sincere. And she got 36 reviews, I think, within 4 days. It was pretty intense. She blew past her number. So definitely consider how you can get your own reviews up within the PetBiz CRM. There is, of course, reputation management, where you can set out those review requests on an automated basis. You can send them out by email. You can send them out by text. They are very, you can add graphics. You can make them look really pretty by text too, or even by email. And then, of course, when that person does give you a review, it comes back into the system. So you can go ahead and reply to that review right there, which replies are super important too. So, thinking all the way through, I guess if we take a look at all of this, like standing in the middle of both sides, I would never be able to be a weather person. So, we've got all of those different phases of our customer journey that we're thinking about. And then we need to consider on that second part, what we do kind of at each of those steps that are going through, right? Our awareness, of course, that's making sure that we've got all our information out there. Branding is good. Messaging is good. That we've really thought of all of those places that people might go before they need your service. So, that would be, I've just rescued a dog. I have a new puppy and I'm at the vet. You need to make sure you target all those other professionals in other parts of our industry and other industries. And then, you hit that interest phase. That's going to be when you've got these things coming in, when you've got your leads, when you've got your inquiries coming in. So, what do you do at that phase? That desire is going to be building up that relationship with that welcome series, right? Really having great communication. If you decide to do those videos for that wow factor, whatever you can think of to do to stand out, to make things different. They always talk about your, USP, unique selling proposition. What's different about you? If your marketplace is doing the same old funnel of, I'm just going to bring them in like normal, cha-ching, move on to the next one, see you next time, then having this plan is going to make you stand out in your market. So just understand that. It's going to make it different for you. So, that whole action, the welcome, think about all of those ways that you can really touch people, whether it's an automated basis or not. That's why I decided to put this out in all directions, because it's very important to think about when you're looking at building out your automations for your customer journey in the PetBiz CRM or elsewhere. But equally, even if it's on paper, you need to think through how you can be different, how you can build that relationship, how you can build that high level of trust with them. All right, let's see. Oh, Robert's just popping in with a question there. Trigger links. He's talking trigger links. All right. So I talked a little bit longer than I thought I would, and I figured I would do that because I usually do. Anybody have any questions about the customer journey? Again, I can put up the pretty picture here. Pretty picture, which is way better than my chicken scratch on the wall, right? Anybody have any extra questions about the customer journey? How, for CRM people, how your automations are fitting into your customer journey? How you can improve yours? Have you hit any points within working on an automation in the CRM that you need some pointers on? Of course, I will be doing some additional sessions on that, but this one I really wanted to have be more of just some education about the entire process of and what you should think about. Because if you try to attack creating an automation without understanding why, like what's your end result that you want to have in this automation, then you're probably going to make something that's not going to work. It's definitely not going to make you happy. But you definitely don't want to miss a step. You want to make sure there's just enough automation for things to be efficient and time saving and not complicate things further. All right. Anyone have any final questions? I'm looking here. I don't see anything coming up right now. Happy to answer any questions if there are any more. I think there's like a 20-second delay here, so I'll take a drink just in case. All right. Let's see. More, let's see. We use TTP and have a lot of stuff sort of automated. I know it's automated, but yet it's not, right? Like review requests, trying to figure out how much to move over to the PetBiz CRM community. Honestly, part of the difficulty, of course, is once we get to the point where we can pull out using Zapier when we can pull out first visit and last visit from each reservation, and that it's added and updated also if somebody's schedules change, then at that point, I would say 100%, we need to move it all over to PetBiz CRM Community, because it will be fully automated at that point. But because most of us are going to set our confirmations a couple of days ahead of the first date of the service, and most of us, of course, want to send out review requests after the service is ended by a certain amount of time, and people's schedules change and their reservations change, and so that floats that date on the front and back end. We're unfortunately kind of in a manual process right now. So if you've figured out a way to automate that within Time to Pet, I would probably stick with that. Maybe that's a question that we could take off of this later, so I can see particularly what you're doing to see if anything you're going to be better served within PetBiz CRM. So it might just be that the first part of your customer funnel is going to be the automated part, and then the back end of it with the nurturing and the support is going to be within the CRM. So again, it might be a balance. Unfortunately, we don't have any systems currently within the pet industry that have open APIs where it's very easy for us to get information in and out of. So, I mean, my intention is to be a stand for that. So hopefully that's going to change, and we'll find some of that freeing up, because having this kind of a marketing tool and being able to have automations, especially when we are so busy in our pet businesses, we don't need to be wasting time doing things that can be automated. We shouldn't have to make a decision between creating a great referral program and implementing a great referral program. We shouldn't have to decide like, oh, do I spend my time doing that manually, or do I go out and network with veterinarians? No, we shouldn't have to make that decision. It shouldn't be an if or. We should be able to automate that back end, because it can be automated. So we can then spend our time on the things that are going to be more productive for our business, like networking and outreach. All right. Anybody else? I know. Hoping TTP will catch up with me. Well, I'm talking to them. They're really busy with their acquisition right now. So he's staying positive when he emails me that they're going to hopefully see about what else they can start porting out for us. I don't see that we're going to be able to talk two-way, but at least if we can get more information pulled out through Zapier would be wonderful. Okay. Any other questions in the meantime? All right. Does not look like it. Okay, let me check my calendar here, see what I've got going. All right. So what I'm going to do now is if there are any of you that are CRM people that have specific questions on an automation or anything that you're working on, I'm going to go ahead and stop this stream. And then if you look in our community, the next post that you will see will be a Zoom link. And I will be sitting on Zoom for a period of time in case any of you have any specific things that you want to work through after watching this information on the board about the customer journey. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. Any questions, you know how to find me. All right, take care.